Hey everybody, and welcome to Crypto Wednesday. I'm Shelly Palmer here in the shadow of the Empire State Building, as we like to say, Midtown Manhattan. I hope all of you are having a fantastic day today. I know I am having a fantastic day today. First thing I'm going to do is make my chat bigger because I cannot see everybody's chat. Chat is where it's at. Hello there, Mickey. Hello there, Charlie from Detroit. Hey there, Joey. Thank you for being here. Thanks everybody for being here on YouTube Live with us today. Crypto Wednesday, my favorite day of the week, without any question. This is the best day of the week by far. If you are with us, the chat client is what's working here. YouTube live chat is really important to this, so ask your questions. It's an Ask Me Anything Wednesday. Not only should you ask a question in chat, but also say a little bit about who you are and where you're from and what you're doing and all of that, where you're located, because it's always fun to hear where everybody is from around the country and in many cases around the world, which is also super fun. We are having the most extraordinary week in cryptocurrency. I'm going to not talk about the crypto dollars today because, let's face it, crypto goes up, crypto goes down, so we don't really care what the exact dollar figure for Bitcoin is this moment or the exact dollar for ETH is this minute. But we do know that it hit an all-time high last week. And we do know that there's been some really interesting movement. Whales are out for sure with Bitcoin. But as you know, Crypto Wednesday is not just about cryptocurrency. It's about DeFi and the world of NFTs and all the other good stuff you can do. So Alan Mostow, welcome. David Sharmatz, welcome. BL, I know you're there. Welcome. And good to see everyone. Wow, what a nice crowd today. Thanks, everyone, for joining. So we got a bunch of questions. And please, like I said, ask your questions in chat. We've got a couple questions. I never understand how this stuff comes in on text messages and email. I know some of you don't want to actually ask public questions. If you want to email, this is, for those of you who are new, Shelly@shellypalmer.com. You're completely welcome to send an email. Joey is monitoring email live while we're live in Crypto Wednesday, and we can put some of your questions up on the screen if that's cool. Oh, Tom Herman, glad to have you here. Glad you're here. So we do have a question from Deb B. It's not Debbie, it's Deb B. Sorry about that. What's special about Apple AR VR headset? Why should we care? Oh, about the new patent. I was going to talk about that. Great. Oh, that's amazing. Hold on a second. I actually have a picture. This was going to be my first thing we were going to do today, and so let's do it. Yeah. So this, to your point, is the new patent for the Apple headset. I wrote about this in this morning's newsletter, so thank you for bringing it up. This is kind of super cool. It doesn't look like much on the screen, but this is what Apple put out today as their new potential patented technology for AR and VR headsets. And what it's going to do is pretty slick. I don't know how many of you spend any time with virtual reality headsets on or augmented reality headsets, but roughly 20 to 30% of people who put them on last about 15 minutes, then they become nauseated or they get dizzy or their eyes get really strained. And what causes that, apparently, is some asymmetry between the way that depth is presented in the two eyes stereoscopically. And what Apple's going to do with this new patent is they're going to project directly on your retina as opposed to presenting the light so that it falls incident on your retina. It's going to be projected directly onto your retina. It's a fascinating concept. They were granted a patent, and it's going to go into either. Yeah, no, that's not the way it's going to look. This is a drawing from the actual. Let me put it back up. This is a drawing from the patent application. This is not what it's going to look like. This is simply the way that the patent claims are written. So yeah, don't get caught up in that at all. Anyway. At the end of the day, they got this patent that was going to allow glasses like this and also VR goggles to work in a very different way. So it's very, very, very exciting. The way Apple described this, they've got a couple different things. They've got a thing that looks like Oculus, which is where they're going next. And why are they doing that? They're doing that because the processor has to be reduced in size. The batteries have to be reduced in size. You know, how much weight can you take on the little sides of your eyeglasses. They're going to have to put batteries in there that last all day. They haven't figured that out yet. That's what a processor in there that's fast enough. They've got some of that, but they got to go work even harder. It needs to have a 5G radio in it. It's going to have some local storage as well. There's a lot for them to work on. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to put together these like VR goggles. Then the next thing, as they get to miniaturize, they will start to get regular glasses. This technology is going to help them stop people from becoming nauseated every time that they put the glasses on. I really saw that at CES over the last couple of years. We actually did quite a bit of VR work. We had some VR demonstrations at our booth, and we had, while people were waiting to take their tours at CES, we would let them try on virtual reality goggles and play some games. I would say that number is anecdotally correct. Somewhere between maybe 20 to 30% of the people were like, oh, I can't do this anymore. It was really interesting. So I think Apple's onto something. What else we got going on today? Let's see. Do I want 5G? Tom Herman, you're asking a great question. Let's see if we can get this up on the screen for people. Do I actually want Tom H? Let's see if we can do this. Do you want a 5G radio that close to your brain? Now, that's from Tom H. Tom Herman. Okay, Tom, thank you for that question, actually. I think it's a great question. And it allows me to bring up how to say this. There's a whole group of articles at shellypalmer.com where you can go and look up, Does 5G Cause Cancer? Is the name of the series of articles. They're all about 5G and cancer. Now, what happens is that there's a whole group of people who have been spreading, I'm going to call it misinformation. You can push back and say it's not misinformation, it's just unproved science, and when in doubt, err on the side of caution. Quick story, because I want to get to crypto today. The way the microwave ovens were figured out is an engineer was walking by a microwave transmitter with a chocolate bar in his pocket, and the chocolate bar melted. It turns out that the way you cook food is you boil water. Most food that we eat is, like we are, human beings are, mostly water. The food we eat is mostly water, and in order to cook it, we have to boil the water or heat the water to cook the food. So a microwave oven has the ability to put microwaves out at the resonant frequency of water and boil the water. That's the way it works. Boil the water. Boil the water in the food. Food cooks. And everybody's like, okay, well, 5G is electromagnetic radiation. And because it's electromagnetic radiation, do you really want that transmitted by your head? That's microwaves by your head. No, it's not. The frequency of microwave ovens are tuned at the resonant frequency of water molecules with the express understanding that they're going to boil the water. If you put your head in a microwave, you'd be really sad. You can't do it because there's safety measures, but yeah. So human beings have a fair amount of built-in protection for the electromagnetic radiation that we deal with every day. For those of you who are not aware, visible light is just another form of electromagnetic radiation. There's all kinds of invisible things like radio waves bouncing around all over the place, television, radio, actual TV and radio, your phones, yeah. Shortwave radio, it's cosmic rays of every kind. The ozone layer filters out some. The Earth's magnetic field shields us from others. We're naturally selected to survive the levels of radiation that are normal. There's zero proof that 5G is the kind of electromagnetic radiation that would cause cancer with the kind of exposure that we normally get to it at the power levels that we get it. By the way, the sun's rays will cause skin cancer if you are exposed for too long and you don't have enough natural protection against UVB rays in your skin. Read about it. Go deep. A lot of urban mythology. Yes, you can have a 5G transmitter next to your head. You definitely can. Can you have a 5G transmitter next to your head at some incredible power level? That's untested. Am I going to be the one who wants to test it? No. Extensive writing. Does 5G cause cancer? ShellyPalmer.com. It's an important. I wouldn't ordinarily spend this much time on something like that, but it's important. You know, it's the same kind of story. It's a narrative that people resonate with. No pun intended. That resonates with people. Same thing with this overstating of how much electricity is being used by crypto mining. Everybody wants to tell that story. It's not the case. It uses a lot of electricity. A lot of things use a lot of electricity. Does it use more than other kinds of activities that human beings do? And those are the questions you got to ask. So let's see. We got another couple questions here. Here's a new question. Let's see what we have. This one is, Bitcoin is down. Is this normal or is it time to panic? Now, yeah, Bitcoin was up to, I think, $65,000 the other day. It's down. I think it's under 60 grand today. I didn't look. I promised I wasn't going to look for the show today, so I didn't look. But when I did look this morning, it was at $58,000 or $59,000. So yeah, this is going to run around. What I wanted to talk a little bit today about was some of the manipulation that the whales are capable of. There are about 10,000 people that own most of the Bitcoin, most of the Bitcoin, and there are about 1,000 people that own most of that. So we've seen a lot of money moving around, and there's a new Bitcoin ETF, which got everybody excited. And I fully expect that we have not seen the last of the whales go out there and manipulate the cryptocurrency prices. Crypto market, as big as it is small enough where if you move $500 million or $300 million or $1 billion, you're going to move the market. You are. So, and that's what's been happening. The ETF is giving Wall Street a way to play. And we've seen a lot of crypto move around over the last week. So, but it's not the story. What is the story? Well, Kevin H asks a good question. Let's put Kevin's question up right here. Kevin H says, what do I make of Adobe, specifically Photoshop, getting into the NFT space? So that is about Adobe is about to put a button in an update of Photoshop that allows you to quickly prepare an NFT for distribution in Photoshop the way you would prepare other artwork in Photoshop. What it says to me is that the artists in the universe are crying for tools. Adobe recognizes it, and this is about as fast as I've ever seen Adobe update into anything. So, yeah, I love it. What do I make of it? I think it's important for people to have the tools to make NFTs. Do I think that NFTs are in their final form factor? I do not. I think we are just getting started right now. There are enough tools out there to help you make thousands of NFTs at a time. Everybody's making character generators. Everybody's getting ready to think that this is the next. It's the next widget. If you remember widgets, everybody had to have one. At the very beginning of apps, everybody had to have an app. At the very beginning of websites, everybody had to have a website. Everybody's got to have an NFT project right now. Some of them are really valuable and some of them are really good. Some of them are just also ran and silly, and it's all going to shake itself out. Adobe's going to help us get to the shakeout faster, so that's what I make of it. I'm very excited that Adobe is supporting the business because at this rate, if you will, we're going to burn through this process very quickly, which is good because it's time for us to burn through the process. Again, please ask your questions in chat. If you have a question, I'm completely happy to talk about it. While we're talking about Bitcoin, I would like to tell you a little bit about blockchain, cryptocurrency, NFTs, and smart contracts. It's my best-selling book on Amazon. Second edition is out right now. We're donating proceeds to a bunch of different charities. Girls Who Code gets some, and a bunch of other charities as well. So please, you do well by doing good. Second edition's out. There's a ebook as well as an actual book. Beyond all reason, the book is outselling the paperback is outselling the ebook something like 6-1 right now. Don't understand that exactly. I guess people like actual books, but I'd appreciate it if you'd jump on that. I think that would be super fun. You know, this week, our friend Mark Zuckerberg had a very, very difficult week. And a couple things were a little nuts. First of all, I wrote a blog post yesterday, the Zuck doth protest too much, methinks. And that was really about Facebook just making excuses after excuse after excuse after excuse. Facebook's not going anywhere. The politicians on Capitol Hill are not going to successfully make Facebook go away. There's no replacement for it. There's no. It's like a perfectly tuned advertising engine. The way Google is a perfectly tuned advertising engine. The way Adobe is a perfectly tuned Amazon is a perfectly tuned advertising engine, and for online. And you're not going to see Facebook replaced. What are they doing wrong? Everything they're accused of. But yeah, none of this is really going to change. It just isn't. And I wish that I had better news for you on this one, because I'd love to see some real changes in the social media landscape. But I don't suspect we're going to see that anytime soon. What we are going to see is that sometime this week, our friends at Facebook are going to change the name of their company to reflect the idea that they are going to be a metaverse company. That's what we're going to see, the metaverse company, whatever that's going to mean. I don't actually know what that's going to mean. I don't think they do either. But I keep having visions of what I'm calling the Metazoic era, the next phase of human evolution, or the planetary evolution, where we're no longer in reality, we're in some virtual reality. If you remember the movie WALL-E, these people were on scooters, basically, and they were living in a world of social media and entertainment immersion. It wasn't quite a metaverse, but it's what a metaverse will ultimately become. And I think that's where we are. I think we're in a place now where we're already there. That's what Instagram is. You only put your best pictures up on Instagram. It's a fake world. You know, everything's always perfect on Instagram, and there's face bragging. Oh my goodness, the line at the Louvre is so long today. It's like, really? You're at the Louvre and you're complaining about the line? I mean, you know, that kind of thing tortures people. People hate it, or they love it. They always feel inadequate, or they feel like jealous. It's not a good thing. So we're already in this weird, like, metaverse-ish place. Now they're going to take it the rest of the way. We're going to get immersed. It'll start as cartoon avatars in a cartoon world, and it'll end up as some kind of self-sovereign identity in a digital world. Maybe there'll be some point of view stuff, the way Second Life was, or the way that Decentraland works, or that Axie Infinity works. Maybe it'll be game-based. Maybe there'll be a lot of different ones, and they'll be cross-chain capable. That's what I think is going to happen. Is it going to ever be more than gameplay? Could be. A lot of things you could do in a metaverse environment that are a proxy for the internet as it stands right now. That's what interests me. If I had a self-sovereign identity, if I was in control of my own data, where I could only release to you the data you required to bring me into your world, whether it was a true metaverse or a DAO, right, a decentralized autonomous organization, there's a lot of those out there. Each one is governed slightly differently. Sometimes you have a utility token or a DAO token that remunerates you to keep you involved if you do certain work in the DAO. But the concept of a DAO and the concept of a metaverse are kind of interesting, especially if they're both decentralized. A DAO is a community of like-minded individuals. So you've got all kinds of different DAOs out there, and they all run literally in completely different ways. But the thing that makes them similar as decentralized autonomous organizations is that they're governed by the people that make them up. So if you have a community of interest or community of passion and you put it together, you have a good opportunity for everyone to go after the same goal the same way, and you will build tools to do that. Well, a metaverse could allow that as well. You could have a metaverse that was like a nightclub. You have a metaverse that was a place you could do business. You have a metaverse that was trying to mirror the whole world that we live in. Or you could have a group of metaverses that, when put together, mimic the world we're in. Places to shop, places to go to concerts. They could all be in one, or they could all come cross-chain and be in different metaverses at the same time. It's interesting because you don't know if the metaverses will be controlled by central authorities like a Facebook, which will make it safer and easier to use, but far less interesting for people who are trying to get out from under the thumb of our big tech overlords, if that's a way to describe them. But then you also have a completely different approach, right? This idea of having communities of practice or communities of passion or communities of interest that all have cross-chain compatibility and don't require anything more than your self-sovereign identity. You don't need an avatar. You don't need to go as a cartoon character into a cartoon world. The metaverse just becomes a way to describe a decentralized internet, like the next evolution of the internet. I don't know if there's any way to predict how this is finally gonna go. I don't. But I can see the beginning of this absolutely everywhere. I just see it everywhere. I'm really interested in what's happening with DAOs more than I am with metaverses. Metaverses seem to be based in gameplay right now. Decentraland will fascinate you because real money's getting spent. Axie Infinity, they have their own currency internally. It's trading on a few dexes. You can turn it into fiat currency. It's played in the Philippines to the point where there are some people in the Philippines. I think this stat I read was that close to 40% of gameplay takes place in the Philippines. People are making between $500 and $1,500 a week, equivalent US dollars, playing the game. Wow. I mean, wow. I think that's cool. Speaking of communities of interest and communities of passion and communities of practice, just indulge me for a second if you would. You are all invited to join PGX. This is our private social media network. It's really a social network. There's not a whole lot of media in there. You can put up some videos and graphics, but every day we discuss the problems of the day on PGX. In the description below on YouTube, you will see a link. That link gets you directly in. I figure if you're watching this particular video, there's no reason in the world why you wouldn't want to hang out at PGX and comment and join the conversation. It's really a great group of people. I think you'll enjoy it, so please feel free to come on by. pgx.tech is where it's at, but you'll find the description in the link. Again, please ask your questions. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to know who's watching right now. I see a whole bunch of you here, so I would love to I'd love to get your questions. Oh, I see a couple other right now. Let me just grab this one right here. Aren't there many other similar... Oh, I'll just put this up. Aren't there many other similar tech to the Apple headset? Yeah, there are any number of Apple-esque headsets. The one that comes to mind, of course, is Oculus. Samsung's got a bunch. There's all kinds of virtual reality headsets out there. Lenovo's got some. Microsoft still has its whole holodeck world that it's trying to put together. HoloLens is what they call it. It's mostly become an industrial product. Google still exists. I mean, Google Glass still exists as a training tool. So there are any number of people, who are putting that stuff out there. What's going to stick? If you remember, when we wore our Google Glass out in public, we were immediately dubbed glass holes. It was cool for like 5 minutes, and then it was really uncool. Really uncool. So, yeah. I think this is more of a sociological problem than it is a technological problem. I'm positive that it is. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to be allowed to walk into a room and tap or click or just use my brain waves and snap a picture. So, I don't know. Now, we had the exact same problem when the first flip phones had phone cameras and people were going into locker rooms and bathrooms and doing things you shouldn't do with a camera. And everybody got, bummed about that, but it worked itself out. Over time, it worked itself out. So, I hope that this will work itself out and we're all going to figure it out. Another question. Here we go. Couldn't the metaverse further divide us by feeding us to what we want to hear? Yeah. Couldn't the metaverse do that? Look, social media blankets us in the comfort of the information we want to hear, and our confirmation bias is what informs our decisions. Nobody likes to be out of their comfort zone. I write an email every single day. While we're on the subject, you go to shellypalmer.com and you subscribe to the email. It's free. I write one every single day. Sometimes I touch on subjects that you would consider political or politically motivated. I don't try to impose my own politics, but I do talk about things political, especially when it comes to social media regulation, big tech regulation. And my personal worldview is that technology is neither good or bad. It's people who are good or bad. There are some technologies that are bad. There are. I don't think that atom bombs were built for anything good. You can say, well, they're a deterrent. Yeah, but if you use them, nothing good happens. So that's not a good technology. But the people, generally, if I look at a smart speaker, I'm not going to say it's good or bad. You can use it for bad things. You can use it for good things. I look at a car. You can run into a crowd of people. You can drive to the hospital. I mean, it's not the tech. It's how you use it. A metaverse will just be a reflection of who we are. Just the way social media is a reflection of who we are. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. It just reflects who we are. I'm very concerned about how we are going to subtly, in a nuanced way, with great caution and reverence for our freedom of expression, and not just freedom of expression with respect to the government, and not freedom of consequence for our words. Freedom of expression does not mean freedom from consequence. The government can't tell me what to think, and it can't tell me what to say in the United States, and they're very good about that. And as long as I'm inside the rules about hate speech, and I'm not breaking any laws, and I'm not crying fire or screaming fire in a crowded theater as the general test case goes, I can say whatever I want. The government can't shut that down. They're not going to put me in jail for being a dissident. As long as I don't hurt anybody. It's just words. They're not going to do anything about it. But that doesn't mean in any way, that there aren't going to be consequences. If I say something that bothers a group of people or really, really infuriates a group of people, it may be completely fine to say. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to have consequences. How do you deal with that technologically? Let's think about the Facebook feed for a minute. As everyone knows who knows me, I have definitely never met a chocolate chip cookie that I wouldn't, devour. I'm in love with soft pretzels. Oatmeal raisin cookies are even more fun than chocolate chip cookies. I've never met a cookie I didn't like. And by the way, the most dangerous place on planet Earth is between me and a soft pretzel, especially a fresh one. Terrible. I've been fighting with my weight my entire life. Some weeks I'm better at it. Some weeks I'm worse at it. I think the algorithm knows this. It knows that I'm looking for healthy food. I am always searching for ways to help myself stay healthy and stay alive and live a more productive and more active life and also feel better. And that means carrying less weight. And it's always been a problem for me. Always. The algorithm should restrict me from looking at high-calorie food recipes. I look at a lot of recipes. I look at a lot of recipes that anyone with a brain would say you shouldn't be cooking. But why? Why do I do that? And the reason is my wife and I love to cook together. It's something we can do together. She's not into the kind of music I'm into. She's not into the technology I'm into. But there are certain things that we really have in common, and one of them is we enjoy cooking. And we especially enjoy cooking for our family. So, of course, we're always looking for recipes that we can do together and always like super fun stuff. What would I do if, for my own good, The Facebook algorithm decided that I shouldn't be looking at recipes that are not healthy. And you say that's absurd. It would never do that. Oh, really? Why wouldn't it? Why is that absurd? If you're telling me that there's young women with body image issues who are binging and purging, who are anorexic or bulimic, or are now becoming to have eating disorders or suicidal thoughts because they are not happy with their body image and it has become a psychological issue for them, or a psychiatric issue, a mental health issue, and the algorithm is going to start to try and figure out how to push them towards content that's going to be safer or better for them, stop it right now. Stop it right now. Don't even go there. Don't go there. No. That's not what you do to stop that. Because there's no way to get it right. You can statistically predict what a population will do. You cannot predict what an individual will do. And human beings are complicated. Brains are complicated. There's no way in the world that a single purpose algorithm that pattern matches is going to be trained to do anything good for a single human being. The best we can do is serve a population. It's just the math. It's just the math. So, yeah, I don't see this. And I'm really, really, really concerned about it. And so, yeah, this could happen in the metaverse, because the metaverse is just going to be another way human beings get together. By the way, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, to a lesser extent, I guess. That's a schoolyard amplified. I don't know what your 4th, 5th, and 6th grade recollections are, what your memories are. I really don't. I don't know if you've observed any kids who are in grade school when they don't know they're being observed and they're talking to one another. I don't know if you've observed any unsupervised chat between, call it, 10 to 14-year-olds, 10 to 16-year-olds, tweens, and young teens. I don't think there are nastier human beings in the world than little kids. Thoughts do not go unuttered. I saw a set of sample texts for a workshop that were taken. It was an anti-bullying workshop that was put on by friends of mine for one of our clients, and I was invited to observe. And they brought in some text message threads, and about a half a dozen girls had ganged up on this other girl, saying she was too ugly to be in school and she should kill herself. These are little girls talking to another little girl. You don't think that's going to happen in the metaverse? Of course it will. And there'll be an NFT to commemorate it. Horrifying. Horrifying. So, yeah. On that same exact topic, actually, Snapchat did something interesting this week. Snap is going to, Evan Shapiro, who's the CEO there, said that he was going to, said that he was going to do a parent assist app for Snapchat. I didn't quite articulate it, but some way for a family to be involved, like in training a young person how to use Snap effectively. And I think to myself, that is amazing. That's exactly what has to happen. That is exactly what should happen. If you think about it, like when you taught your kids to cross the street, I always use this analogy. You grab their hand, look both ways, walk purposely across the street. You didn't do that one time, you did 1,000,000 times. How do you teach your kid to use social media? I think it is a fantastic, fantastic way. Fantastic way to get kids to understand how to be safe in that environment. David Cutler, this is too big to put on the screen. How to inspire non-techs that are waiting for that single reason to even consider to own their own NFT. Okay, plan to replace their customer engagement process. What is the single most compelling hook? I think that there are a couple answers to that question. First, ticketing. Because if tickets are NFTs and they become souvenirs and they start to have a value, that would be amazing. So I think ticketing as a tool for audience development and fan development is a really easy on-ramp for NFTs, and it's a really easy on-ramp for people to get into a non-crypto way, not have to have a crypto wallet. You could have a custodial wallet inside the crypto system, inside the ticketing system. You can take digital custody back if you are savvy enough to have a crypto wallet. If not, it can stay in a wallet that just looks like a collection of digital assets. So I think ticketing is going to be one of the really easy ways to get in there. I think the other way that this may happen is during sporting events. I think they're going to start giving away in arenas, in stadiums. They will start to give away some NFT starter, free NFTs. We've seen some of it so far, and those NFTs might be part of a lottery to get you to do something else, or they may just be something you can keep as a souvenir. Over time, I think these will be compelling. The third and last way, I think that the easy on-ramp would be if a game was inspirational. It's like a lot of people like to play games. Axie Infinity might not be your cup of tea. Decentraland might not be your cup of tea, but we're seeing literally dozens of games emerge every week that are NFT based, and I could see that as an easy on-ramp for people who are not necessarily crypto savvy but love to play games. Understand that these are the rules. I also think that we will see very, very soon, I don't know of plans to do this yet, but I've heard it spoken about quite a bit. You look at the currencies inside of console games, any of the EA games or Activision Blizzard games that are on PS4 and PS5 and Xbox. There's currencies in those games. They are virtual currencies. Those are digital currencies. They can easily be represented by NFTs. Easily. They could also easily be represented by tokens. They don't have to be NFTs. They could actually be currency tokens. So I think there's a lot of different bridging technologies. I'm pretty sure we're going to get there. And I'm excited about it. I don't know if there's one on-ramp for everybody, but I know that there's a little bit of something for everybody in this business. I also think that we're going to get to a point very soon where things like diplomas and certifications and even something as simple as a driver's license will be NFT based, and that's going to start getting people into stuff. Now that's going to open up a completely different can of worms, which is going to be whose wallet, whose blockchain, and do we have enough cross-chain compatibility? I don't know how excited I'm going to be about the state of New York's blockchain. I really don't. I may put up with it, but I don't know how excited I'm going to be about it. Am I going to the title and Hall of Public Records, like for deeds and titles to homes and things? All this stuff is going to find its way to the blockchain at some point, and just for cost efficiency reasons. And I think those will be on-ramps too, although less so than the easy one. People buy tickets to stuff. And, think about it. You're trying to drag people back into movie theaters. You could do that with some NFTs. You could do that with some gameplay. You could do that with some non-fungible tokens that got you other perks. I mean, you could do it with coupons too. You don't need a blockchain for that. But if my goal was to get people super stoked about NFTs, that's how I'd probably do it. It's all going to be marketing. Everything about NFTs is a belief system. Everything about cryptocurrency is a belief system. And so it requires really good marketing, not just good engineering. Good engineering only gets you so far. Again, happy to take your questions. Happy to, whether it's crypto oriented or not, one thing I would like to offer you is the following. On Tuesdays, we drop Tech Stream with Shelly Palmer and Seth Everett. Tech Stream is a show that I am so proud of. Episode 31 drops this week, and it'll be actually it may have dropped on Tuesday. So yes, yesterday, episode 31. We are having so much fun doing it, Seth and I. It's pop culture and tech coming together. You can get it at Apple and Spotify and Amazon and Google and wherever fine podcasts are sold or found. So yeah, please download TechStream and give us a little review. By the way, if you're here now, if you're this far into it, because we're almost done with our hour, and you are, liking what you're seeing, there's a subscribe button at YouTube, and you can hit the little bell for notifications. We do this every Wednesday at 12:15. I also would like to hear from you. In fact, I'd love you to email me at shellypalmer.com. I'd love to hear from you about, is this time of day a good time of day? During the height of the pandemic, we were doing things during the day. We used to do this at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesdays. We moved it to 12:15, so it would be during lunch on the East Coast. Some people have suggested we do this at 11 o'clock in the morning. Others have suggested we do it later at night, East Coast time, but that's still middle of the afternoon on the West Coast, and it's obviously different in the UK and in Asia Pac, where we're also distributed. So please, I'd love to hear from you, Shelly at shellypalmer.com, and let me know what you think the best time of day would be for us to put this on YouTube. Also, if you've got a question or you've got a project you want to talk about, whether it's blockchain, any kind of DeFi or crypto project, we are always willing to listen to ideas, and we've got a ton of engineering staff around. To that end, looking to help with these kinds of projects. To that end, if there's something about blockchain you'd like to know, you can go to shellypalmer.com/blockchain. Now there you will find all kinds of information. We've got a big database filled with all kinds of interesting companies. We've got resources for coding. We've got resources for collecting. We got all kinds of stuff. We got all kinds of stuff there. shellypalmer.com/blockchain. You're welcome to join us there anytime. Everything is free at shellypalmer.com. So that goes without saying. At Shelly Palmer is my Twitter handle. You guys are not a big tweeting bunch, but if you don't mind tweeting, we'd love to have you tweet once in a while. Take a screenshot, get the word out. We're going to try and get our, a few more Twitter followers, a few more YouTube followers. Trying to stay a little bit off of Facebook and TikTok. I was a TikTok star for a while, and the audience got bigger and bigger and bigger, and yet it's not an audience that you interact with in a way that seems to benefit me, other than having a like is not a business outcome. And so lots of likes wasn't really doing anything. I was excited to learn how to post on TikTok. I was excited to learn how to build an audience there so I could help my clients do it. But personally, I've stopped posting to TikTok at this point. Although I've been asked to do it again, I've stopped. But I am doing a lot of work here on YouTube, and we do it every week, and I like spending this time with you. So if you'd be if you'd be kind enough to subscribe, spread the word, whether you spread it on Twitter, spread it on YouTube, spread it in email, spread smoke signals, carrier pigeons. It's all good. It's all good. I appreciate the questions. I really do. Earlier would be better. Early would be better. Early would be better. Well, thank you. We can do this earlier. What time earlier? Like 8 o'clock in the morning earlier, 9 o'clock in the morning earlier, 7 o'clock in the morning earlier, 10 o'clock in the morning? I'd love to know. And of course, we're talking Eastern, because that's where I generally am, on the Eastern Seaboard, generally. Somewhere in the Northeast, to be fair. Look, I could go on for another hour, but I'm not going to. Here's a couple things I'd like to remind you of. Crypto is a very, very, very volatile world filled with people that are not awesome at all. There's plenty of great stuff going on. This show is not financial advice. It's not meant to be. If you're going to make an investment in crypto, please consult a financial advisor who is licensed, and go with care. This is not a place you should goof around with. I mentioned DAOs today. DAOs are incredibly fascinating. I hope you will research them on your own. I beg you, do not get involved. Do not get involved until you have researched it thoroughly and you get some very, very good advice. Seriously, good advice about what to do. That goes obviously for any work you might do on a DEX and any kind of crypto investment at all. I am not giving you crypto investment advice here on Crypto Wednesdays. But I am telling you that this is the most interesting, most exciting time we have ever had in the world of crypto. Ever, 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 ever. And the projects we're seeing now in decentralized finance and across gameplay and across all aspects of business are just blowing my mind. Yeah, there's some right in chat, 100%. You want to do this with money you can afford to lose, for sure. And with that, look, I just want to say thanks to everybody for being here with me this week. What a great time to spend together. And thanks for all the fantastic questions, both in email and thank you for texting. I didn't put my text ones up because I didn't have a interesting way to grab them off my phone, but I will do that next time. I wish you were all willing to put them in chat. Chat's where it's at. I love the chat part, but I do appreciate everybody being here. So thank you so very, very much. And I will see you next Wednesday at 12:15, unless we change the time. So check your emails. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.